Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. We have a lot to cover today. There are a lot of fixes and changes that are going to be coming to Overwatch 2 / the Overwatch 2 beta. We have the Overwatch 2 beta week 1 developer blog, which is really exciting because this is really going to focus on a lot of the issues that we've talked about. One specific one for an example is queue times. But what we're going to do is we're going to jump right in and we're going to read what they have to say. It states here, the first week of Overwatch 2 beta is behind us. Time flies when you're having fun. The team has been hard at work compiling player feedback, squashing bugs, and gearing up for the mid-cycle patch. As we mentioned on the Overwatch forums last week, we're going to talk a little more about Mercy and Symmetra changes, as well as our initial thoughts on Junker Queen and queue time, which is awesome. All four of those things need to talk about. They're also, I believe, going to touch a little bit on Moira, because we're going to be getting some Moira changes here in the next patch as well. But they start with Mercy, so let's jump right into this. Guardian Angel gives Mercy important mobility that is key to her survivability. Over time, players learn that if you jump during the ability at a specific time, you could launch Mercy up into the air. This is super cool. However, it was completely unintentional. Mercy's super jump was the result of a bug that occurred during Guardian Angel, but players made it a part of her utility. We liked the idea of a bug turned into a feature, so the changes to Mercy in this beta were meant to make the super jump more reliable and consistent. Well, newsflash, it does not. Every time you try and use your Guardian Angel to jump into a player or fly on over or res, it basically boosts you up and prevents you from rezzing. It just added a lot of extra not good stuff to Mercy's kit, and so I believe they're going to be taking it away. They go on to say here, we saw some issues with the implementation of the latest version throughout the first week of the beta, so we'll be changing up the ability in the mid-cycle patch. Our goal with the next change is to give players even more control over Guardian Angel while also increasing its flexibility. That's good to hear. I hope that they have, I hope that it's more thought out this time. It seemed like they just kind of threw it in to the beta randomly. After the patch, Guardian Angel will not automatically launch Mercy into the air, but it will now have a meter that charges while the ability is active. When canceling Guardian Angel with jump, Mercy will now be launched into the direction she is facing. The more charge she gets during the ability, the more momentum the launch has when she cancels it with jump. We're looking forward to seeing how the community engages with this ability in the beta to get Mercy ready for Overwatch 2 launch. Alright, so she's essentially going to have a meter that, goes up the farther away you are from a character. So, for instance, if Soldier is very far away from you and you fly to him, the meter is going to increase, and if you click the spacebar or whatever button you have tagged to jump, she's going to fly forward just like the old version. But it, like it says here, you're going to have more control. But at the same time, I think it's going to be a little less control because the closer someone is, the less time your meter has to fill up. And it was kind of like that before. We're just going to have to see how it matches up, but I believe it's going to be fairly similar with a little bit of, what's the word here? Just a little bit more customization. Like, she's just going to have a lot more flexibility when it comes to how to use it, but we're just going to have to wait and see. It sounds very similar. So now we're going to go on to Symmetra. We recognize in the first beta that Symmetra didn't quite fit into the play space of Overwatch 2's changes. We're defining faster paces, more engagements, less barriers. There are fewer tanks that Symmetra can use to charge up, and the removal of Assault 2CP maps take away from defensive stage that she previously shined on. So yeah, we don't have any more Assault maps 2CP, which, yeah, a lot of people use Symmetra for that, and she was very strong there. So now that we don't have those map types, she's kind of lost some of her potential. They go on to state here, we expected the changes to Symmetra's teleporter and secondary fire projectile speed to be the primary solutions, but we overshadowed these with other nerfs. One of these nerfs was no longer gaining ammo from barriers, which we removed to put power back into her ammo capacity, since barriers are much less prevalent. Our reasoning for some of the other nerfs was that Symmetra is already a statistically strong hero, and we fear these changes alone could push her over the edge. That said, one of the benefits of this beta is that we can make changes and iterations prior to launch. We're currently trying out the following changes in internal tests. Secondary fire projectile size increased from 0.4 back to 0.5. Secondary fire charge time reduced from 1.2 seconds back to 1 second. Teleporter cooldown reduced from 16 seconds to 12 seconds. Additionally, we have another change for her in the mid that we're currently testing internally. Additionally, we have another change for her in mind that we're currently testing internally. This iteration charges her primary fire beam to level 3 faster to help compensate for less tanks and shields to charge it up. We're not sure if this change will stick, but our goal in mind is to make Symmetra feel more natural in Overwatch 2. Alright, so that's a lot there. Let's look at her main patch note changes that they're going to be adding. The fire projectile size from 0.4 to 0.5. That's not much of a change. I don't think it's going to do much for her. Secondary fire charge time reduced from 1.2 seconds back to 1 second. Once again, I don't think that's going to do very much. You know, it all has to do with her secondary fire, but you're not really using her secondary fire a whole lot. I mean, most of the time you're fighting with Symmetra close up, and she has not a lot of stuff geared toward long range, medium range stuff. It's more up close and personal, like a shotgun character. And then her teleporter cooldown from 16 to 12 seconds, I do think that's good. I think reducing a cooldown for something as important as the teleporter is a step in the right direction, but overall I think this isn't enough, and I think Symmetra needs a full rework. It's time for us to have a different Symmetra. She has always been in a weird spot. You know, first she wasn't a healer, but she was in the support category as a character that wasn't a healer, but was in the healing category. Even though it's called support, that's what it is. So, you know, they tried to take her out of there, put her into the damage section, and make her a damage character, and she's been in this weird place ever since. So hopefully, whatever they do with the internal testing, they figure it out, and eventually she feels amazing, or they change her character completely and give her a rework. But overall, Symmetra is just not a very good character in Overwatch 2 right now. So, moving on to the Junker Queen and continued testing for queue times and different things like that. They say here, over the past week, we've seen tank queues surge with the release of the Junker Queen, as many players wanted to try out our newest hero. While this is generally something we expected when we release new heroes, we've been encouraged to see queue times improve and even out somewhat. Already. Our initial thoughts on her gameplay are that she fits well into the more offensive, aggressive play style in Overwatch 2. We fixed a few of her bugs in the upcoming mid-cycle patch, but she's still early in the testing phase. We're going to continue to watch how she performs in the beta to prepare her for launch. There are some other heroes we are watching like Zenyatta and Sojourn, who may need to be tuned down a little prior to launch. We like the direction of Roadhog's ultimate Roadhog's ultimate changes in the beta, and we're now working on making it feel more intuitive and polished. The team will continue to work on these improvements leading up to launch. In the meantime, you can expect some changes to Moira and Mercy in this upcoming mid-cycle patch. Okay, they just covered a lot of stuff there in that last paragraph, but let's start with the Junker Queen. So, you know, from what I'm seeing right now, they are not talking about a lot of Junker Queen changes. They're just saying they're going to keep looking at her, and tank queues are going to be high because everyone's playing the new hero. But like we talked about before, that is going to probably even out because she's a new hero, and people will eventually, you know, not play her because some people don't feel like the Junker Queen is right for them, and they move on to other heroes or go back to playing their regular heroes. That's just the way it is whenever a hero comes out for all of Overwatch. But tanks are very different now. They're a lot more fun, and I can see people sticking with tanks and having more incentive to stick with tank because they like the Junker Queen and other tank heroes, which I've been playing way more tank than just about anything else. Not just the Junker Queen, but other tanks as well, because they're way more fun than they used to be. But then they go on to talk a little bit about Zenyatta and Sojourn. Zenyatta is a support character that's very strong right now. He can still heal, and he can do a lot of damage, and I've noticed a lot of people playing Zenyatta and a lot of people doing really well with Zenyatta, so I think that's why they're trying to dial him back. I think he is probably doing too much damage, and I don't know what they can do to specifically change him and make him feel good and reduce how strong he is right now. We're going to have to wait and see. And Sojourn, they're talking about dialing back Sojourn. I think Sojourn is in a fairly good place. I think her secondary fire is a little overpowered, so they'll probably tune that down in my opinion. You know, she can charge that thing up pretty fast and deal some damage straight through people, straight through the whole team if she lines her shot up correctly. And it's just, it's almost like how you would feel if you would just get one shot by something back in the day, like just instant KO. Like there's no indication that she's going to fire this thing. Like she can just fire it and it's just bam, immediate, like faster than a Hanzo arrow. Like it's crazy. So maybe they'll change some of that, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. Then they go on to talk a little bit about Roadhog. I like Roadhog. Roadhog is one of my favorite tanks, but you know, we don't have two tanks anymore, and I don't think he fares very well as a main tank. I think he's had the least amount of changes when it comes to the tank overhaul section. Kind of up there with Winston. I think Winston's in the same category for me, but Winston's already a good tank. Roadhog would play into that secondary tank phase where he would try and sneak around corners and hook people and catch people off guard, almost like a damage character, but now he's a main tank. And all they really did was increase his health by 700, make a few minor changes to the math with what he did, and they updated his ultimate ability. But they're gonna have to look more at his ultimate and figure him out too. I feel like we're gonna get a Roadhog rework as well here soon. But, you know, we're just gonna have to see. Just gonna have to see what they do. And then they just kind of barely touch on a little bit of Moira. They just say you can expect some changes to Moira and Mercy in this upcoming mid-cycle patch. You know, they told us a lot about Mercy. They didn't tell us a lot about Moira. I was expecting to get some more information, but they did say we're going to have, like, not a full Moira rework, but she's going to be changed a little bit, which is really exciting, and that is kind of going to be a surprise. We're going to check out Moira as soon as this patch drops. There's been a lot of stuff going on in Overwatch 2, a lot of new feedback from the community to the developers, and the developers are talking to us about it here in this blog post, which is really great to hear from them, and it's really awesome to see these upcoming changes in the latest patch. You know, I don't know when it'll be. They said it's going to be here soon, but they also said it's going to take a little while longer than usual because things are just crazy right now and it's a beta. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and hit the bell icon so that you can be notified for all my future videos. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Flash out.